I've really grown to enjoy so many aspects that managers traditionally do. Like I love working with artists. I love making products. Like I love making the vinyl, and I love like pacing around and thinking of like what do I need to do next. It balances out making music because like I can't be creative every day, all day. Sometimes I'll like make music for like a week or two and be really creative, and then kind of burn myself out, and then my brain switches over and I start thinking about management stuff. I get really creative in that realm. Like I feel certain aspects of management have become a second creative outlet for me. That's been like a huge change across my journey as an artist because when I first started making music, I just only wanted to make art, and I was grossed out by the idea of marketing or selling myself or making money or whatever. I think I've just grown to really love like the whole process.
All right, welcome back to another episode of A Path Unfolding. I'm your host, Jesse Brede. My guest here today is Mark Rubin, aka Somatoast. Mark, welcome to the show.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, I am so happy to have you here. We've been around the block a few times together. Gravitas has helped you release a bunch of your music.
Hmm.
I'm so proud of where you are in your career and so happy to have you here today to talk
Thank you.
about the new album and everything that you've been up to. So yeah, man, like just first and foremost, how are you doing? I want to check in on you.
I'm doing okay. Um, yeah, this has definitely been the hardest year of my life. Um, but I have my house and my studio. My neighborhood is totally messed up, but I'm doing okay.
Yeah. I had saw you at Astronauts, which was really great, and I got to catch your set, and it was so cool to see how you've grown as a performer and your sets have grown. I think this new album is, hitting some heavier moments, and so you have this really beautiful range of dynamics and energy and moods in your music. So that was fantastic. But you kind of caught me up
Thanks.
on the story of the hurricane and living in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Can you share that story with us real quick?
Yeah, it is kind of um it is just kind of at the front of everything still. It's been almost 2 months. Not I guess not quite 2 months, but a month and a half. And yeah, I live in the mountains like 30 minutes from Asheville. And yeah, the hurricane hit and the roads up here got destroyed and my neighborhood got hit really, really bad. I live in like a mountain holler, so I'm just like up the mountain, kind of off the main road. Like all the roads are dirt back here and they got messed up, and there's like a bridge that connects us to the main road, and that got washed away. So I was stranded back here for like 12 days, I think.
Wow.
And it was really scary. I think the scariest experience of my life. But
Yeah.
also like one of the most beautiful in a weird way, because just how everybody came together and like the bonds that I made with my neighbors, and it definitely changed my outlook on like humanity as a whole.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I always say it was like a psychedelic experience because there were so many similarities of just like, it starts with terror, and you're scared, you're terrorized, and then you got no choice but to be like super vulnerable with your neighbors. So like all these boundaries just dissolve in an instant, and as terrifying as it was, the way we came together was, I don't know, it was just magic. Like, and we got the roads fixed quicker than anyone thought. Not fixed, but I got to drive out of here after
Yeah.
12 days. But
Wow.
there were a lot of similarities. You're like in this panic state, and the time is just weird. There's just, I don't know. It was just a crazy experience.
Man. Well, I'm really glad you're okay, brother. And I know it's we were all thinking about you, and I know I even had to cancel some shows, and I
Yeah, I
think you
did.
had set to release your album and put that on pause. So this
Yeah,
is
I did. Yeah.
real. Some real life shit, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, I couldn't drive out of here, so um I had to cancel a few shows, and yeah, I had plans to do the album, and then even still having released the album, it's still just weird. Like I feel like I'm just kind of going through the motions, and I've been having a lot of trouble like just like participating in life, and so like showing up for how satirical and funny my like album concept was. Yeah, I had all this stuff planned, but I think it still has been hard to like show up in the way that I really wanted to for it.
Mm.
Um, but that's just like the energy that I'm putting into it. Like I think the response has been great, and um,
Yeah.
I'm stoked to see more people's reaction to it.
Yeah, I mean, I got an early listen and I bought the vinyl and
Thank you.
it's phenomenal. I love, and you've been on a roll for the last 3 or 4 albums with the concept artwork tying into the vinyl, into the merch, into the music. It's all really super cohesive, like such a tight, interesting, beautiful brand and presentation
Thank you.
that honestly I don't see a lot of people bringing that level to the of offering to the game right now. Can you talk a little bit about how that has evolved over the years and how you've kind of discovered that? And
Yeah, I I think I've taken a liking to like beyond making just my music, is I've taken a liking to like the whole vision and like each project that I can come up with going along with that. And my album art has been consistent by Mute Illustration. Like I discovered him. He did a poster for a show that I had, and I just had started having him do my album artwork, and we work great together because I can just give him any kind of concept I have, and he always crushes it. Um, and yeah, I've really taken a liking to putting the record together, and um, kind of just telling a story through like the physical medium.
yeah, so when we
Hmm.
did the album Creation is Creation, we did a live stream on Sheavelight and we had animated the artwork, or you had, and
Hmm.
just thought that was so cool about there was this, these elements of rebirth and death and the snake, and the skull, and
Yeah.
I just think that's such a fun way to put things together, and really is sort of this new world that we're living in for media, for music marketing, for getting people to engage on something and take a journey down the music path. And it's challenging. It's like, dang, really? Do we have to do all this to get people to listen to an album? But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where we're at these days. And I think it's dope that you've taken it on and gone like all in on it, and you're willing to like roll up your sleeves and do it yourself. We've worked on records obviously, but you've done a bunch of self releases as well, and it's like that's ultimately all of that has really come from you and your vision and putting all of that together. So the new album is Please Interact with My Content, and let's talk about some of the concepts behind that and like where you were coming from, that whole the naming of it, and sort of where you're at musically as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's like two sides to this. Um, is the concept of the album and the music. Like kind of it's might be a departure, or some people might hear it as a departure from like what they would expect normally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even though like my catalog has always been all over the place, but it definitely is heavier, and um, it's interesting because it's like I think people are like I've always been like a black sheep kind of artist, like didn't know where I
Mm.
fit in, or down tempo was always hard to sell, I mean, sometimes hard to get people like hyped about.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I would be lying if I said that I never felt some type of pressure or like, desire to get a certain reaction and excitement from people that I see from like these crazy like hype shows, you know, like, and it did push me to like explore more like dance upbeat styles. And but then at some point, like, I genuinely did get inspired by that, and like trying to find this, trying to hit this like medium of like uh dance styles and formulas that would be more
Mm-hmm.
DJable, um, that would mix easily across the set, and you know make DJs want to play it, and but also have this like deeper, or not deeper, but more melodic, more uh, just yeah musical element. And so I think I got really inspired by the structure of it all, and like the structure of what makes a song more danceable. Because I spent a lot of time for so many years just being like, I'm going to arrange a piece of music, and had
Mm-hmm.
no care for like like formula and structure was kind of the last thing on my mind. So really coming into this thinking more about like a stricter structure kind of gave me more creativity in a way to like explore that formula. And I think out of it came this like weird kind of like, yes, heavier, but also in some ways not too, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was some moments in there where I'm like, this kind of feels like a little bit of techno. This kind of feels like a little bit of drum and bass, a little bit of like, some of the mid-tempo stuff. But it's still 100% you, like the sound design and the sort of articulations that you're always adding, and the foley and the rhythm. It was really cool. Like for me, it was a welcome expansion and sort of evolution of what you're offering. I
Yeah.
I think it's great that you opened yourself up to exploring and sort of a study on a new, or sort of a new time, or new sort of takes on certain genres. Like I think that's where really interesting stuff can happen, because no matter what, it's going to be you.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, I agree. I do think that like copying is impossible, you know? Like you could try, like I've always, if I get inspired by something, I try to copy it, and something different ends up coming out, but you learn something along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and on like exploring those styles, it's like after the pandemic, I was getting like good shows, and but I kept playing. I had a bunch of shows in 2021, and I would finish the show and I would just be down on myself, like it never went the way I wanted it, and I just wasn't stoked on my music anymore.
Mm.
I was just like, I didn't know. I felt like I was just stuck in this like void of like, well, I know some, but there's stuff I want to reach for that I just don't know. So I had to like sit and figure out like, okay, what am I, you know, what am I wanting from my music that I'm not feeling now? And that pushed me to be like, oh well, I need to learn more stuff, and that pushed me to take lessons, and I took lessons from Encanti, and his classes
Nice.
were so next level. Like, yeah, I can't recommend it enough. And yeah, that helped me a lot, and so I spent, and watching tutorials. I spent like the year just learning more, and um, yeah, that that had me thinking about structure and formula.
That's really cool. I mean, I think that's a lesson for. I mean, you've been making music for a good long while. I I wanted to. Yeah, at some point we'll tell the story of when we first met, but it was like to recognize that you're not exactly where you want to be,
Hmm.
and then think about like what can I do to address that as an artist, and then really the answer is to continue to learn and go back to that beginner's mind, and go back to what else can I try that I haven't done before, what way, how can I learn something new that really inspires me. That's really cool, because I think one of the trappings of having some success is like, oh, I need to just keep doing what I've been doing and stay in that place. But as artists, right, especially in today's world, it's like it's really important to continue to evolve
Yeah.
and bring new ideas to the table for yourself to stay interested, and then for the crowd and for your fans to keep kind of seeing new layers of yourself. So that's really cool, man. That's a beautiful story, and it's awesome that it ties back to Inconti because I love him. He's a wizard. We've had him on the
Totally.
podcast, and another absolute gravitas homie that I'm so proud to have worked with. So what about the name of the album and that concept behind that?
Yeah. I mean, if you know me, my sense of humor is really satirical, and like I think I can't not be satirical. So like the concept was honestly like it's I felt like it's so tongue in cheek and satirical, but it's also like it's also true to like my feelings, and I'm sure the feelings of a lot of artists. Um, and yeah, it does play into this like things that you just have to do.
Yeah.
I think most artists can relate that there's like a set of things that we all agreed upon, or I don't know if we agreed upon it, but it was just like you have to do these things if you want to be a successful artist in this day. I think that's the point. We didn't agree upon it. Like the ways in which you like have to promote yourself or interact with the world, like these channels, they're monopolized, and they serve they don't serve us. They serve like an algorithm
Mhm.
for profit and yada yada. And so I think I feel kind of really forced into these roles. Like this is how you have to show up if you want people to see your shit. And the name, me and my girlfriend were just hanging out, and we just came up with it together, and we were just laughing our asses off. Uh, cause each song name is also like I wanted the album to be like saying the quiet part out loud,
Yeah.
like the subtext of every video, um, every every post that we make to be seen. And so yeah, it's like it's a satirical concept. I can have fun. I love cultural commentary. That's my genre. And so
Yeah.
I could explore that. And but the way I would come up with the stuff is just um a real feelings that I've always had.
Yeah. Well, let me read some of the titles, or I'll just read the song titles. Well, first, the album's called "Please Interact with My Content" in all caps,
Yeah,
and then the
definitely.
first song is "Virtue Signal," all caps.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is I period V parentheses incessant validation.
Yeah.
Number three is cucked and commodified.
Mm-hmm.
Number four is broadcasting live every thought.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Number five is your disapproval shatters me. Six is melt, and then seven is anthem of fun.
Yeah. The
And
last two
so,
were
yeah,
named before all of that. I wanted to put them on the vinyl, so
I love it, dude.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, your disapproval shatters me. Like, and some of your social media posts, it was so fun because you literally called people out to like, please interact with my content, dear algorithm lords, and like, I forget all what you said, but it was like, and people, it really did work. That's the thing, is like people loved it and went for it, and I had so
Yeah.
much fun commenting on it. It was great, man.
Yeah, well, it's
Um,
interesting because, yeah, I did have fun. I wrote, I still have posts I haven't made, but I spent, a month making a release plan with authoring like all kinds of posts, and I would just get ideas for them, whenever, and be like, oh, it'd be so funny, blah. And I think it did, it was like kind of allowing a space for people to have fun and make fun of themselves, and while simultaneously like doing the things that
Yeah.
like you have to do for an album release, like make a post, or like,
Yeah.
but before I announced the album, I had a post that said doing thing or doing stuff and things, and it's like,
And
and I was like, I have once again been doing stuff, and this has led to big things. Like comment, everyone's always like big things coming up. So I wanted to do a big things coming post, and I was like, everybody comment with your favorite way to say big, gigantic, max, mega. You know.
I love it, man. It's so great. It's so clever. Trevor Moontribe from the Desert Dwellers was watching your set at Astronauts, and I was like, dude, you got to check out his album, man. It's so funny. I was like, it's this whole thing, and it's a commentary on social media. And he was like, that is fucking brilliant, because I think, like you said, like we're all. It feels like such a have to that it takes the fun out of it. So you found a way to put the fun back in it, and making fun of the whole thing is fantastic. And it really shines a light on some of the pain and the stress and the realness of like, okay, I got to come up with this clever way to be like, look at me, which that's really not what you set out to do originally. You wanted to play music and be an artist. And then all of a sudden we become like dancing puppets on a social media platform, and that doesn't always work for everybody. I know you as a very sweet, inward, vulnerable, chill, like humble human being, and the algorithm is not super rewarding to that. And like, I love that you've found a way, within all your friends. Of course, you're hilarious and funny, but like, when you first meet someone, it's not like, oh, look at me, like, and so I think this is great, man. I think this is a lesson, a masterclass in marketing and finding your way through this whole world of marketing and trying to like get your word out, which is just, it's kind of mind numbing after a while. So
I wouldn't call it a masterclass, because I don't know if I'd suggest everybody to take that route. But yeah, I mean, I do think the art carries it. Like the bright art and the craziness. It's got to like, it's all part of it. If I was just like taking videos of myself being like, please interact with my like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look at these colors are so dope, man. And
yeah, that's all mute.
Yeah, these all have been printed on vinyl. The creamsicle is so lush. Like, I thought about it. I was probably get the purple too if there's still one. I want them both.
Collect them all.
Yeah.
But
so that's awesome, man.
That was another aspect of like, okay, people were interacting and enjoying with it, but I was also afraid of offending people, like, because I mean, my satire offends people all the time, and I try not to inject it into like my work or whatever. But so I was afraid of that. If people, I don't know, I came up with all kinds of narratives or scenarios. People would be like, "Oh well, you should be so appreciative to make art all the time. Like if you don't like it, get off the platform." Yeah, I don't know. But and the copy, like if you go on my website, it'll say like, when on my website it says, "Thank you for interaction. Now please commodify my content, and here's the web store." And
Right.
and then the description of my album is like, "Validate me as a productive member of society by buying my record or by commodifying my content." And at first I drafted it and I was like, "Help me not die by giving me money." And like, I think there were just like certain lines I didn't cross of like, maybe that's a little too real or too like,
a little too intense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, comedy. I mean, you've got one on here that's called Virtual Signal. It's like, comedy is tough because there's some comedy these days, and I don't think I'm like a totally woke, but it's like some things I'm like, is that funny? Because it's sort of just mean to a group of people, and I don't necessarily think that's. But I think this is mean to the right things. Let's be mean to the
Oh,
right things.
yeah. Well, so that was something I wrote in my release plan. Like I wrote like rules for myself that I didn't want to break, which is
Okay.
like this satire, I want to satire me. I want to satire like me being an artist, and that's why I was careful. I was like, I still literally want you to buy my shit, and like if I criticize you as a consumer and made you feel like you were doing something bad by like patronizing my art, which I do want you to do and I do appreciate, you know,
Yeah.
I wrote rules for myself to be like, okay, make the jokes about me. And the only time I crossed that line was when I called everybody cows for being. I said we're all livestock on the data farm, and I think
Yeah.
people enjoyed that. Uh,
I did. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
um, yeah, but
Cool,
and
man.
yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
Well, I was just gonna keep ranting on the whole cow thing. You know, it like ultimately when we the ultimate, you know, my thoughts is like ultimately the way that we have been like literally trained to show up on social media like in pursuit
Mm.
of our artistic career, like these ways in which we have literally been shaped like the landscape of how artists, not even artists, but how brands or and any
Yeah.
sector of doing stuff, like the way that we have to show up to our people who will patronize what we're doing, like is being shaped by what serves that algorithm. And like that algorithm is not in service to us, like it's in service to data farming
Yeah.
and making money off of our data. And so, you know, we all are that livestock that like we're all
Mm.
working for that farm, you know.
Yeah.
um
I've said this before too. I say this to artists when I'll do like artist development coaching. I'll be like, find the social media platform that you actually enjoy and are interested in creating content for, that makes you, that actually fills you up. Like if you want to be making videos of yourself doing crazy dances, that's great. But if not, then don't do it. And I say, make social media work for you. You
mhm.
don't work for social media. And I see people feeling like they need to post on every platform, everything, you know, going back to your, you know, live streaming every thought. It's like, I find that doesn't work. I think that we get caught up in that, or you know, or at least some people get caught up in feeling like we need to post every single thing. And it's like what I find for most successful artists is that less is more, more intentional content, more thoughtful content, more funny content. When it suits you, even taking a break for a couple months, weeks, whatever it may be, and not posting just so that you're not in there all the time being bombarded by the negativity and the, you know, everything that's on there, the dopamine. I mean, I just recently have taken all the social media off my phone in an attempt to really kind of disconnect from that. And it's actually really been a game changer for me to not feel like I need to open my phone and open these apps. And the
Yeah,
amount of
definitely.
dopamine rewiring that we've done to ourselves is crazy. I'm 44. I know you're younger than me, but there was a time when we didn't have any of this, and now we have whole generations that are growing up almost always having a phone in front of them and getting so used to that habitual checking, habitual validation, habitual like, oh, I need to share this with people. That's entire thoughts and ideas that are not getting played out in their lives because it's just around this thing happened, now I need to share it on the phone, versus taking time to process and think about it or share it, you know, more present with your loved ones, things like that. So yeah, I think this is a fantastic point and topic to really try to, you know, make social media work for you, which I think you've done a great way of figuring that out.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say the record sales are any better than what they have been before, which is fine, which is good,
Yeah.
but like it's, I wouldn't say it's like this magic marketing trick. But
Mm,
it is just a fun way to do an album release.
right on.
And like, yeah, the most fun I've had, like with every single part of the process, you know.
Right on. I will say right now, in terms of the economy and people, I think it's a very different time than, especially coming out of COVID and stuff. I've
Yeah.
seen record sales and just people's money is just not where it
Oh yeah.
was.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's tell the story of meeting, not for the first time, but just that whole like initial, sitting down. It was you, myself, and John Bertram, Symbionic. Was it, where was it called? Thai? I think it was called Thai
Thai
Kitchen.
Kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Austin.
Yeah, on Guadalupe, and I think at the time you were making some music and getting going, and some people had mentioned that like, hey, you should connect with this guy Mark. He's making some dope stuff. I think it would be a good fit for Gravitas. And I think at the time your artist name, you were going by Crazy Fingers.
Yeah, like a Jerry
And
reference.
yeah. And we sat down and you had probably like 4 or 5 different names that you floated, and you brought up Somatoast, and John and I both were like, that's good. I like that. And I think even that's kind of a satirical idea, right? In a
Yeah, I mean, I
sense.
think I had a lot of ideas. Like I could make up I have a few narratives about it, but yeah, it rolls off the tongue, and yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I remember distinctly like you lived at was it Pearl Street? Which co-op was it? You lived
I lived at House of Commons, and
okay.
first I lived at Eden too, but then I lived at House of Commons for a few years.
Yeah. And so anybody who's not from Austin or in that world, the co-ops are basically the fraternities for
It's where
weird
they turn you into
people.
a gay Marxist.
Yes. Exactly. So there's all the gay frogs there, and we're all like, yeah, we have to swear to the Marxists. Yeah. But it's a beautiful experience to live in these co-ops where there's no adults running it, and it's self-run, and there's a little government, and there's a little committee, and you vote on who gets to join next year. And I lived at the Taos co-op, and I was the party planner, and I had to do one educational event and one party every month, and my best friend was the kitchen planner. And
Yep.
there's so many cool like real world like
Yeah, yeah. You
skills you
learn
can
how to
actually
manage an
learn.
industrial kitchen, or learn how to be an event manager, or learn how to do democracy.
Yeah. So when I
And
when I learned that you were there, I was like, "Oh, dude, this is awesome. I really want to work with this guy." And yeah, man. So what a journey, brother.
yeah, I was a
That was a
cook.
fun.
I cooked food. That's
Yeah.
where I learned how to cook for myself, really.
Yes. Which to think like we're sending people out into the world and they don't know how to do laundry, they don't know how to cook, they like there's no real skills teaching, and then we're just supposed to figure that out. But it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
but you know what the capital in Nebraska is because you've taken 37, government, classes that
Oh
you'll
yeah,
never
Lincoln.
use in your life. Yeah.
No, Omaha.
Exactly.
No, I don't know. I actually don't.
Well, who cares though? That's the point. It's
Yeah.
like it's really cool. So I love the fact that you went to the co-op and that we like connected on that. And man, you've been such a cool part of the Gravitas journey, and it's been so cool to watch you evolve and like grow.
Yeah. I mean,
One of the
Gravitas
one of
is.
the
I was just saying, Gravitas has been essential to my journey.
mm,
Like, you guys have guided me and taught me everything.
thank you, man. Not everything.
Not
We've learned
everything,
it
but a lot of
together.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've learned it together, and it's been amazing. Like to me, that's like these types of relationships are the rewards of the entire endeavor to watch someone like of your caliber and your artistic mind and sensibilities and vulnerabilities like put yourself out there, and to have it to see you grow to the point of opening up for Tipper, playing right before him at the Texas Eclipse to some, I don't even know, what was it, like 20 or 30,000 people there.
I don't know. I
It
still
was
don't know.
crazy.
It was a
It
lot of
was
people.
crazy.
I
Yeah.
think it was more than 10,000 because it looked bigger than a Red Rocks crowd, but
Yeah.
that's all I can
It
say.
was cool. Yeah, man. And so like this is what I'm talking about. The fact that you can you really step up and play a set like that before, of course, the legend Tipper?
Oh, I was hella nervous.
I'm sure. What? So how was that for you? Aside being nervous, like how did it go? How did it feel to play a crowd that size?
Well, I was freaking out the whole time because like they had to turn the sound down before I played,
Mm.
and I was freaking out. I was like, this always happens to me. They always do the noise ordinance, and then I have to play. But look, I think it sounded great. I mean, the videos looked good. But while I was up there, I was
Yeah.
like, and I was
Mm.
just very nervous. I was very, very nervous. Like I think I tried to avoid looking at the crowd or like analyzing it or thinking about how big it was. I just was an ant up there anyway, so. Um, but it was amazing. I mean, it's a lot of fucking
Yeah.
people.
That's a lot of people, man. Well,
Yeah.
I think it makes perfect sense. So I think whoever programmed that stage was on point. I guess the next day they had, it was supposed to be like Axel Thesliff, and then it was going to be Zingara and Closey and Ellis Dream, or I don't remember the exact order, but I was like, man, this is cool. And those are all people that, Gravitas has had some, I guess minus Ellis Dream, had some work with. And so to see so many of those artists getting that, kind of top billing at a once in a lifetime event like that was really dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Um,
full circle moment for sure. Just with coming back to Austin for me personally. Yeah.
so when I had Ben on the podcast, he told me about his plugin that he's been working on with the Datamine audio. And he said that they had brought you in as one of the artists, and it's kind of like this, like he kind of referenced like Game Boy, like you would put in a cartridge, so you like plug in your favorite artist as the like sample set, and like so like how did it work? What exactly did you guys do there?
Well, I gave them a folder of like a ton of my stems and songs and sounds. Um, just any sound, like any singular sound or song, like whatever I thought kind of described my sound, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave them a bunch of samples, and they build a neural network based on that material. So, like, you remember when Deep Dreams first came out?
Mm-hmm.
Like Google Deep Dreams, it was like the first. I think it was like people's first experience with neural networks, I guess. But like that
Mm-hmm.
neural network was built on dogs, right? So like everything,
Mm-hmm. Like
every
our dog,
picture
yeah.
that you made with it, like ended up looking like a dog.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the dog.
You're the dog. What's up, dog? Yo, dog, I heard you like dogs. You want a dog? So, and it comes with like you get a bag of bread to make your
Treat.
toast every time you buy one,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's like that. It's like the information you input is, me or the dog. So, like the output that you get is gonna be look like or sound like Somatoast,
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I want to try that out. I haven't got a chance to play with it. I think that's fun. I'm just obviously we were talking about Ben earlier, and I know he's a freaking
Yeah,
wizard,
he's
and
a
he worked with a
genius.
couple other people on that as well. I forget their names, but they're also wizards. They're in that whole DEF CON hacker world, doing
Yeah.
crazy stuff with AI now.
Well, and he's gotten a lot of artists on there doing like they're called brains. Like the neural network's called brains. So he has the brain of
Mm,
you know Entangled Mind and Woolg and I think Rob Clough.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
they're
I
just
think he was.
they've been building it. They have a lot of people on there now.
That's smart. I mean, I think it's cool to. He said it was like one of the cool things was that there's like this revenue sharing with the artists. So as the packs get picked up, you get your slice, which as a label, like we've done the more traditional just music release, but then we started doing things like stems and sample packs, and you did a sample pack for us called Squish, and it seems like Splice just really took the air out of all of that stuff, and everybody just went in all in on Splice, and I've sort of seen less and less people doing anything with sample packs, which I think is a bummer because, or maybe not, maybe as an artist, it's like, I don't really want to do that much of that because there's only so much that you can really offer. And then like, how many more kick drums do you need?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see, with AI, I think this is, a whole new world, obviously, but to have your, it's kind of like a little bit of like a challenge because if you're just giving people so much of a way to sound just like you, that's kind of maybe a scary thing to
Yeah,
offer.
I don't see it like that, or I don't even think that it really does that. Like it's not as simple as you just press play and it creates a whole new song that sounds like me.
Sure.
But as you like drag the
Mm-hmm.
thing around, it's you have to put something into it. Like you have to already have a loop going or some kind of sound, anything. You have to have
Mm-hmm.
already a sound that's going into it. So it's like an
Got
effect.
it.
It doesn't
Got it.
generate noise on its own.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like you put it on as an effect and it will hear whatever you're putting into it and what it hears out, like what it perceives and what you're giving it, and like what it decides what it perceives in the sound is going to be like things that have characters like me or
Mm.
like whoever the artist was that made the brain. So if you're putting
That
in
makes
like a
sense.
synth sound into it, it's gonna like make the synth have more characters like that. Or sometimes it will. They call it hallucinating. Well, sometimes it will hallucinate like drum noises, and it will start to hallucinate different sounds out of what you give it,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a big metaphor. Like the shit you hallucinate is based on how your brain's already wired or whatever. So it's like whose
Yeah.
brain are you gonna hallucinate through?
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, oh, I wanted to ask you about sort of like self-management. I know right now you're self-managed and how that journey has been. I think that's something that people have asked me a lot. Like, when should I get a manager? And I've always been like, man, you should try to do as much as you can for as long as you can to learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
Is that sort of your approach, or what's that
Yeah,
been like for you?
absolutely. I There's a lot that I know how to do, and there's a lot that I enjoy doing. Um, that it like I would like a manager if they could help me scale, or it's hard to justify
Mm-hmm.
giving a percentage of my income, like can when I don't have I make merch, like I love doing all that. So um
Yeah.
like I would like a manager if someone can make the line go up, and you know
Yeah.
then it would be worth it, because I do need help scaling, I think. Like I don't know, but I've really grown to enjoy so many aspects that like I think managers traditionally do. Like I love working with artists. I love making products. I love making the vinyl. Um, and I love like pacing around and thinking of like, okay, what's my next project, or what's my next what do I need to do next, or kind of thing, Um, oh, and I was gonna say it balances out making music, because like I can't be creative every day, all day. Like I
Yeah.
go, sometimes I'll like make music for like a week or two and be really creative and then kind of burn myself out. And then my brain switches over and I start thinking about management stuff. And I get really creative in that realm. Like I feel like certain aspects of management have become a second creative outlet for me.
Mm.
And that's been like a huge change across my journey as an artist, because when I first started making music, um, I just only wanted to make art, and I, I was grossed out by the idea of marketing or selling
Mm.
myself or making money, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think I've just grown to really love like the whole process, the whole vision, the whole package. Um, and yeah, and you know, I think a lot of artists start out with this misconception that there's gonna be this like magic manager that steps in and they make
Mm.
you huge and they make you successful or they make you prolific or whatever, you know. And while it's not, it does happen. I mean, it has happened to for select people. It's not something that like you can rely on or like plan on.
Yeah.
And I tell this to people all the time. I'm sure you've told people something similar. Is like no one is gonna care about your project as much as you are.
Yeah.
Even if you do find someone who will want to be a manager, like the amount of care and intention and vision that they put into it, like all that really has to come from the artist, I think.
Yep. Yep.
So any managers out there who are awesome, like I would love a manager if they can help me like get kind of past where I'm currently at, but there's a lot of basic things that I enjoy doing myself already. So
I think that's amazing that you've it's really a mindset thing, right? And taking on new challenges, learning new skills, being open to the complete skill set that's necessary to be an independent artist. I think if you're talking about major music, labels and operations, and of course you're going to need a manager and an agent and all these other people and a creative director and blah blah blah. But for you to take on the attitude of like, I'm going to have fun with this, I'm going to take it on and like enjoy it and learn it, and then put your own creative spin on it is so, it's such a cool lesson in just being like, that's sort of like the modern day Renaissance approach to being an independent music artist, and not fighting it, not trying to resist that that's the way it is, not complaining about it. I mean, of course, like you said, if you could find somebody that's a great team member. Yeah, I've seen someone like, in the early days, like Marvel years, him and his manager were like it was like a code thing. Like the manager had been there for a really, really long time. And so I think they worked really well together. And even though Corey, Marvel Years was the one that was up on stage, like they were really co-creating the project together. And that can be a way that it works too.
yeah, definitely.
And they worked together for a really long time. I'm actually not sure if they still work together or not, but you got to find what works for you. And I think what you said is like, you found that balance to be like, okay, I'm going to be creative. And now when I kind of lose maybe some momentum in that area, I can jump over to the business side of things and kind of kick stuff up there and work on the admin stuff. And I hear that a good bit. And, it seems like an opportunity to, continue just to grow, which is sort of, I think, one of the themes of what I'm hearing for you is like, yeah, okay, I'm going to take on this new sound, or I'm going to take on this new role, or I'm going to take on like learning how to do vinyl. Like, I got to say, like the vinyl process is not always that easy. Who do you work with now? Are you still working with Deep Grooves or?
I think I was the last artist to receive records from Deep Grooves. They went bankrupt. If
Oh,
people haven't heard,
oh
they
my
declared bankruptcy.
gosh.
I have friends. I won't name names because I don't know if they care, but
Yeah.
we know people who have given Deep Grooves full payment
Money.
and they're like, "Oopsies,"
Oh my
you know.
gosh, dude. Wow.
They got to get it figured out, but
Damn.
yeah.
That sucks, dude. I mean, their claim was that they were more eco-friendly than other vinyl. I don't know how
Well,
actually true it
I'm
was or
wondering
not, but
because a few months ago they sent out a bunch of emails being like, "Oh, we just invested in a bunch of new equipment. We have faster turnaround times." I'm wondering if they were in over their heads maybe because like simultaneously I've seen vinyl plants like spring up everywhere. I've been getting, maybe my ads are just dialed in, but I've been getting ads for all kinds of new vinyl plants all over the place. I think prices are lowering, so I'm wondering if maybe they invested in a bunch of new equipment while at the same time there's just like a ton more competition. That's just my guess, but
yeah.
I mean, they were
Yeah,
a
it's
good
tough.
company. They had good products. They were busy and maybe sometimes screwed stuff up, but um,
Yeah. Yeah.
they did good.
Yeah. Well, that's a bummer. Well, man, what a cool cool chat. Thank you for dropping in with me and sharing all your wisdom and adventures of late. Anything else you want to share? Any upcoming stuff you're excited about? Shows or other plans you got?
Oh, I'm reprinting these T-shirts, so if you didn't get
Okay,
yours, and they're restocked on my website now, they should be
cool,
ready soon. And yeah, and I got more
awesome.
music to drop once I feel like I've made fun of the internet enough.
Let's do it. Well, man, I'm so glad you're doing better. And are okay after the hurricane. It was
Yeah,
fucking scary.
thanks.
I'm really stoked on the new record. Stoked on everything you're doing, brother. And thanks
Appreciate
for
you, man.
coming on and sharing your story, brother. We'll catch you on the next one.
Sweet. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Jesse.
Bye, Mark. All
Bye.
right.